All right, Shalom, Shalom. First things first, I'm going to give our honor and praise unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Wadash. We say, Barakat Yahweh, Barakat Yahushai, Barakat Yahweh, Barakat Yahushai, Barakat Yahweh, Barakat Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Wadash. And we give double honors to our apostles and our elders, which are the apostles elders, a great millstone, which feed us with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. 2025, which is the hopeful year of our deliverance and the judgment and the destruction of Esau. Let's jump into this video. This is going to be a response video slash just going into different things I was researching. The Apostle Elder Tahar was going into this video concerning spiritual power, which is, it's one of, it's a hot topic with Jake, but one thing that we have to understand that this is a hot topic for the left-hand side, because Esau, after you have all the money in the world, you have all the lands you can ever want. That's why Psalm says that they have more than hearts can desire. So what do they want? They want power. Okay, power. An apostle made a comment that said that they're in the land and they're where we're supposed to be. Okay, because they're trying to inherit that blessing. They're trying to inherit that immortality, and they see that the left-hand side has informed them that, hey, this thing is real. They can see through the left-handed side by their sacrifices, their BS, that it is possible, okay? Power is possible. And how do we prove that? We can go even to the situation with Saul, all right? He went to the witch of Endor, and the witch of Endor was able to bring up the prophet. And that shows you right there that power does exist on the left-hand side. The same thing with Moses. When Moses was speaking and dealing with the Pharaoh, his magi, his magicians, all right, were able to do certain things that Moses and Aaron were able to do. But the Lord's power was better and stronger on the right-hand side. The same thing that where we as Israelites are located, we're on the right-hand side of the Lord. The same thing as Yahushua was said that he's on the right hand of the Father. So he's more powerful than the left-handed side. He has more status in the heavens when it comes to power. Okay, that's why it says every knee shall bow. But the main point here is that spiritual power is coming. It's our actual birth. It's our birthright. Just like Esau has served out his birthright, he's received his own birthright. He's received the blessing that Yahweh Shai promised through Isaac. All right, because that promise goes to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And as Jacob has been given that power and has been given that blessing, because it starts with this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding first. All right, the word. That's why it says the faith cometh by hearing. And what are you hearing? The word of Yahweh Shai is what's sealing the elect. All right, because everything is culminating with what? This world is getting ready to see that the pain and the anguish that we went through, that it's not going to be not paid for. All right, it's not going to be swept under the rug. All right, so I went and pulled up some information here. So I asked on this bot, it says I asked about superhuman acts in the Bible and superhero comparisons. All right, because this shows you this shows you the information that they're pulling from Esau's web. All right, so they know if this can be pulled up, they can pull it up themselves, and they know what we're saying is true. That's why there's kid gloves, because they don't want to open that. You don't want to beat a hornet's nest, because you will be stung. So the best thing is to leave us in the mindset that we're in now, even though they're slowly destroying us by the food we eat, the mindset that we have, killing each other. That's why the gangster music was even formulated, was to make Jake kill each other, pretty much put Superman against Superman. All right, and instead of us rising up against the so-called opposition, we would rise up against ourselves. All right, but that's go back to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, where it says that brother will kill brother. So the best thing they are doing is to trust the curses. They're letting us with the curses, because they're just pretty much fanning the flame. That's why the scriptures say, woe unto you that putteth the bottle to your brother's mouth. All right, because they're putting the things to us to keep us in that perpetual cycle. But the elect have broken the cycle. Hey, that's a sit down. The elect have broken the cycle. So we're going to go through this information on here and bring out a few things that will show you a comparison of superhuman's power, also with superhuman strength, superhuman things that Yahweh Shai has given to men in the scriptures that modern day would call superheroes or superhuman acts. All right, but most people, when you see these things, they call it fantasy. Even Yahweh Shai, but it brings it out. So let's go. It says superhuman acts in the Bible, superhero comparison. Overview of biblical figures portrayed as superheroes through divine empowerment. And that's what we are being empowered. And I'll never forget Apostle Rakah. I said something long time ago that it always sticks with me. You know, that we're waiting on power, but power is already here by way of this word. That's why it says that this word is quick, is more powerful than any two-edged sword, cutting to the asunder, to the marrows. All right, this cuts right down to the spirit where we're wielding the sword. We're wielding the spiritual sword of Yahweh. All right, and the spiritual sword of Yahweh is the words that He's given, the breakdowns, the precepts, the understanding, those things that no man can be able to gainsay nor resist. It says overview, says purpose, highlight parallel between biblical miracles and modern superhero tropes. All right. It says one, divine strength, story. It says Samson, divine strength, because that's why the Lord said that he that waiteth upon me shall renew his strength. Okay. And you're not just going to have some strength you can get from the gym. You want strength that is divine. It's divine power. It's unlimited power, okay? Because Samson had unlimited power. It says, tore apart a lion barehanded, okay? We have Judges, 14:5-6, killed 100 Philistines with a donkey's jawbone, okay? What it said, one of you shall put 1,000 to flight, and 10 of you shall put 10,000 to flight. So that's one man can't fight one man. A modern day man, it's hard for them to fight a man by themselves. A fight going 10 minutes straight, with no breaks. A modern man will be exhausted by that time. But to fight 1,000 men, and then you're using a jawbone, a bone of a donkey, okay, to do it, that's even more. The same thing. Salakia. As soon as you do a lesson, man, I'm not even going to let it get to me. I'm just going to keep going. Salakia. So we have here, it says, killed 1,000 Philistines with a donkey's jawbone, Judges 15:15-16. It says, and collapsed a temple with his final act, Judges 16:28-30, Salakia. So let's pull some of these here. Let's put Judges 15:15. Hold on. Let's do here. Judges 15:15. And it says, and he found a new jawbone of an ass and put it forth his hand and took it and slew 1,000 men therewith, because the new jawbone means there's still a little bit of meat on there. Not meat, but there's, it's more, it's got more, it's not brittle. It's strong, okay? It's got more, the minerals are still fervent in it. That's why it says new jawbone, not an old one. Okay, it says, and Samson said with the jawbone of an ass heaps upon heaps, with jaw of an ass I have slain 1,000 men. And it came to pass, when he made an end of speaking, that he cast away the jawbone out of his hand and called that place Ramoth Leah. And he was sore athirst and called unto the Lord and said, Thou hast given me great deliverance into the hand of thy servant, and now shall I die for thirst and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised? Because there's a separation between the circumcised and the uncircumcised. All right. There is a separation between Israel and these other nations, okay? Because the Lord wasn't with these other nations. The Philistines didn't get mercy, and they weren't inducted into here. They didn't send Samson with precepts and biblical understanding so where they could come into the fold. No, he said he slew him, and he was with it because he gave Samson the power to be able to do it. But Yahweh cleaved, it says, but Yahweh clave an hollow place that was in the jaw. It show you the Most High says glory on glory. So when he does something, the jawbone was enough, but he ended up doing this just to put a signet of how powerful Yahweh is. All right. That's why we give grief. That's why Yahweh Shai has returned back unto us with power by this word. This word is a neutron, is a million, 1,000 neutron bombs. It's powerful because that's where the Lord has given his. He says the word, man. All right, the word is powerful. So this is the first. It's better to have the word first before the physical carnal power. The spiritual power is trumps all. It says Yahweh clave a hollow place that was in the jaw, and there came out thereof. It says, and water thereout. It says, and there came water thereout. And when he had drunk, the spirit came again, and he revived. Wherefore he called the name of thereupon Achor, which is in Leah unto this day. So Yahweh Shai Shai did a great work when he did that with Samson. So what makes you think now it's going to be any bit different? Yahweh Shai Shai is going to have you do something, and then the same thing you thought was inanimate and helped you out can help you out again. All right, so beautiful, awesome things are getting ready to take place. We serve a benevolent, imaginative, very loving power, man. All right, that's why when a man pleases the Lord, he said he makes his enemies at peace with him. There's going to be a time where our enemies we want to have that fun time, fun time, as Jake say in the word. That's fun time, because we're going to be able to get some of this anger off that we've been dealing with, but through spirit and power, Yahweh Shai Shai, because we're not doing this on our own. So the world that tries to portray us as some kind of a violent mob, we're not doing anything. We're telling you what the Lord is going to do. The Lord is more violent. That's why it says, Lord power almighty, Allah Shadia, all right, demon-like power. So what do you think is going to, and you touch the sons of a demon-like power, and you raped, robbed, and murdered them. You think you're gonna get off scot-free? Oh no. Elijah and Elisha, elemental control. Story, and I thought about this the other day. Elijah summoned fire from heaven. 1 Kings 8 and verse 36 to 38. Elijah parted the Jordan River with Elisha parted Jordan River with Elijah's cloak. Let's get that. 2 Kings 2 and 14. Let's get that. 2 Kings 2 and 14. It says, and he took the mantle of Elijah that fell from him and smote the waters and said, where is the Lord power of Elijah? And when he also, it says, and when he also had smitten the waters, they parted hither and thither, and Elijah went over. Come on, man. So split. What should come to your mind? Going back to the time of Moses, that same power, that same act was done again. Okay? So what makes you think those things aren't going to happen again? The elements take heed to them, because Yahweh Shai turned water into wine. I always say Yahweh Shai was able to manipulate elements and turn one thing into another. He turned water, that is a pure, a clear liquid, into a fermented liquid that takes time to make. That means he even took time out of the prospect. When wine takes time to ferment, you have to let it ferment and go through the process for it to produce alcohol in the wine. So Yahweh Shai was able to negate time itself in the water. The water was fast forwarded and made, elements were turned into what wine is, and fast forward. So time wasn't even an issue. That's heavy, man. All right. And it says, and summoned bears to attack mockers. And what is that? What to remind you? Beastmaster. There was a cartoon that was called Beastmaster. And Beastmaster was able to contact and talk to animals and lead them. And what should tie back into your mind? Noah, when he had the animals on the boat, he was able to communicate with the animals. That's why our children, we are going to bear forth super children, because our children are going to be endowed with that same power, that same spirit that their parents have. Okay, Yahweh Shai is blessing the Israelites, and their children shall be blessed, because that what should go back to your mind, the men of renown, when it says in the book of Genesis, where it goes into the Nephilim are nothing more than men that were being called that, but they were sons of God, which is Yasher Allah. Well, we weren't being called Israel. We would be called the sons of God. Okay, went into the daughters of men. Just like now, Jake deals with these other nations. The Edomite woman lusts after Jake because that spirit of glory is resting back upon us. Okay, going back to the time of Genesis where women were wanting those superpower men. Just like now, women respect power. They want power. Okay, and it says, summon bears and mockers versus the Lord answered by fire. Comparison, their feats mirrored storms, weather manipulation, or Doctor Strange's reality warping. See? So the same things you see from these DC comics, these Marvel comics, okay, they're nothing more than plagiarizing the Bible and putting a new spin on it. Okay? So that's what you see. We're going to be able to control weather, tornadoes, thunder, lightnings, call down fire from heaven. You think Esau wants that type of dramatic? Even if people see that, and now you have cell phones, you have the internet, you have live stream, that right there, you don't want no. If you're control, if your main thing is control, that means you want to control every dynamic of this world. That means everything that are around, you want to control the narrative. If you have men that are doing these certain things, you won't be able to control the narrative because they're going to have power that's beyond the understanding of modern people. So they're going to attach to that. They're not going to want your world when they have a world that is being shown to be different. All right, that breaks the so-called outline and the guidelines that you set. You told people that they need to go to your hospitals. They need to, all those things are fantasies. You need to have the government do everything for you. All right, there's no power but the military. But these things will shake things up so much that you won't be able to put that cork back in that bottle, man. All right, just like when you pop a champagne bottle, the cork won't fit. So the same thing, if they pop this bottle concerning you Israelites and awaken something in you, which they have no choice about awakening. It's going to awake anyway because it's the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because it's a part of prophecy. All right? And then let's go here. And then it says going back to Samson, like the Hulk or Thor, Samson's strength is superhuman, but tried to a vulnerability to his hair, akin to kryptonite. See? Let's go down. Moses and Aaron's miracle leadership. Staff transformed into a serpent. Exodus 7-10. Parting the Red Sea. I brought that out. The manna from heaven. By his glory, might, endurance, and patience. Colossians 1-11. Strategic leadership like Professor X or Captain America, wielding tools, staff like Iron Man's suit, but it's different than that. Iron Man was not a superhuman; that was technology. Which let me codify it. All right, context is that because technology was given through Yahweh Shem Yahushua's will, and how do I prove that? The internet, Psalms the 19th chapter, it says their line goeth out through all the earth. So who gave Esau the technology to be able to use these things? Okay, the missiles technology that was given to the Lord. The cell phone is technology which was given to the Lord. So even if so-called Iron Man, which is just nothing but a technology based superhero, that's still going back to credence to the Heavenly Father, because who gave Esau this technology? The Lord increased in the book of Daniel. He said, knowledge shall run to and fro. Okay, and we've seen that now, high speed in net technology, even now with AI and all these things that are taking place. The chip, the mark, all right, the MOTB is technology. Okay, that's the banking system. It's technology. Okay, and it says, let's go down here, underdog victory. David, underdog victory, defeated Goliath with a sling. 1 Samuel 17:49-50, and escaped Saul's pursuit through divine guidance. Spider-Man's underdog triumph in the resilience of agile faith, and that's the Spidey sense. Okay, so David could sense it because he said, man, look, Saul's on me. Saul wants to do something to me. Okay, so he had that sense about him, and he also had power. David had superhuman strength too. He said a bow of steel is broken and is bent in my hand. Okay, so David was able to leap over walls. He was able to run. He was able to fight. He said he put 10,000 men to flight. So that's a power, that's a super endowed man. Okay, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, invulnerability. So we're going to be able to be invulnerable, unkillable, because they were in fire and nothing burnt them. Their clothes didn't even smell. So, and Yahushua was with them in that fire. So what makes you think that we are not going to be invulnerable? It says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. Okay? So you're seeing that now. Everything is leading up to the time where superhuman abilities will be prevalent on the planet Earth. Okay? Survived a fiery furnace unscratched. Okay? Human torch, fire resistance, or Superman's invincibility. And then we got to top it off with this. This is Yahushai. This is Yahushai's ultimate superhuman power. Store calm storms, heal the sick, and because Superman couldn't heal people. Superman could save people, but Yahushua was able to heal people and make them whole. He can save them from death itself. Superman couldn't do that. He couldn't bring Lois Lane back. As much as he loved Lois Lane, if one of those villains really got a hold of her, he wouldn't be able to bring her back. But Yahushua was the ultimate power, the ultimate superhero, because he was able to manipulate death itself. Death was at Yahushua's beck and call. Okay, same thing with Lazarus. He was able to raise him up 3 days when his body was it was decomposing. Okay, so that's the power that's coming. Life and death is going to be at the hands of the Israelites. All right, the elect first, and then transpiring onto the nation, because through the process of sex and genealogy, that's why out of each tribe, if you see the 144,000, it's every tribe of those men, 12,000 out of each tribe. So those 12,000 men are going to bring back the rest of the nation once the earth is repopulated or reestablished as a power under the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. The Israelites that are left, they're going to have to come back through those loins of those 12,000 men, all right, of each tribe, out of each tribe. That's why it says that the elect, okay, for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. It says, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. All authority, power, okay? Authority means power. What does it say? Translates to power, okay? If you have authority over somebody, you have power over that person. Combine Superman's strength, Dr. Manhattan's transcendence, and Scarlet Witch's reality-altering power, but we ain't dealing. It's not witchcraft. This is pure power. This is power from Yahweh, all right? Unadulterated power. We're going to be tapped in, all right? Just like you say you got a hose that's attached to a faucet, Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to attach the elect, okay, to his power, and it's going to be flowing through him. That's why it says there should be no temple. The Heavenly Father is going to dwell in the midst of Israel. So there's going to be no nation, no Gog from Gog is not going to come up and take us over, because we're 144,000 plus the 1/3 of super endowed, and then the Israelites that have coming back. If we could beat these nations as normal men, one man put 1,000 to flight, what makes you think that they're going to be able to take super endowed, sinless, perfect Israelites? They won't be able to do it, all right? Because Yahweh Shem Yahushua won't allow it. So that's the main point I wanted to bring out, because the apostle said that, brothers do love these types of videos and loves that vibration, because you need to embrace that. That was a part of something that Esau made us forget. And that's why it's such a detriment about mental health and mental clarity, that you have to have that faith. If you have any fear and doubt, you'll block your power yourself. You have to have that unadulterated faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that he's going to make these things happen. All right, and we need him. And we need him because, hey, Esau's power is so high level, he can do away with Jake through his planes, his missiles, his artillery, those things which are still older technology. I'm talking about going back to gunpowder and all those things. Now he has direct energy weapons. So he has all types of high-tech things that we don't even know about, man. All right, so spiritual power is coming in a big way. Lord, when there's edifying lesson, with that, I want to say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Mechakwadash. Until the next time, I say shalom, and more now than ever, keep faith. Shalom.